Hey, hi guys. In this video, I will be talking about roadmap of SAP Central Finance so that the business gets a value out of it. So this is all purely based on experience, and this blog is not a technical blog where we write a lot of code or we do configuration. This is not. This is focused on a decision and how Central Finance can help transforming the business into a real uh, benefit where when we talk about future of digital transformation, or if we talk about future of enterprise core implementing S4HANA, where we have a diversified landscape. So this blog focuses purely on how to build a roadmap, how should we place central finance as a product in our landscape so that it gives us value in the long term. So let's talk about focus. So in any central finance project, the focus should be on value chain. So central finance is not just you invest money, you implement S4HANA, you implement the component called central finance, and you start replication. What does it give value? Your operations are still running on different systems. So it is important to understand that there is a value chain and this is just a kickstart. Just replicating the data from any source system, be it SAP, be it non-SAP, be it one or be it 30, 40 systems, depending on the how diversified the landscape is, will not deliver any value. Trust me, if you just say replication, what you can do simply is you replicate into one box and you run the report. Rather than running 40 reports, you can run one report. That's all. But is that the real value? You can do it through BW or any other consolidation software. And then, of course, on top of that, you are investing so much on infrastructure, which involves millions. Then, of course, the maintenance of the new landscape. So, for example, today you have 20 systems, and then you implement S4HANA Central Finance. Then you have 21 systems. So, of course, that cost is involved added now to the bucket of yearly commercials. And of course, people for managing the system in terms of IT and functional, as well as then you also have to consider the AIF error handling. So AIF are the errors which comes when the data starts replicating from source to CFIN system. And I will share separate details in another video talking about purely on AIF errors. So let's not focus on AIF here. Focus is it's a bigger picture, how to place central finance as an overall component in the bigger plan of for future. Yeah. So there are four components in the roadmap. So I would say it's a roadmap. There are four very simple components. You start with transform, you implement central finance. Then you go for to sustainability. Of course, it involves upgrades. It involves uh, thinking. It involves design thinking. That you have to apply the principle of design thinking to do things in different ways than you traditionally do. And of course, central finance is one of the area where you have to think differently. And then you run the way you are running and on with bigger and larger pace and speed, and of course more agile and driven value driven way. And then the last part is the innovate, where you continuously innovating. So in next few minutes I will be explaining these four components in detail and how to place the product. Transform. So this is the first phase. It's the start. In this phase, the core of central finance is built. I'll first read what it means and then I'll explain. Focus should be on replicating data from source system with excellent quality of data. So central finance is only about quality of data. It's only about data. It's less technical, more data. I would say it should be normally a data project because you replicate data. So that's a first, I would say, a first phase or the first release of the project where you start replicating data to ensure, but the data quality should be good because you are going to use that data in other phases. You remember I mentioned sustain, run, innovate. The data will be this data which is coming in the phase of transform. As this is the initial phase, the initial load, it will be run. That data should be usable for the organization. You do initial load, you have to ensure that your governance is in place, and also the data quality, the data models are correctly designed, mappings are correct, so that your data, when the real-time replication starts, the data value is good. And this data forms the foundation of the whole value chain, where some key activities on this phase is you identify source system, you work on connectivity, You work on your master data strategy. Don't underestimate it. Master data strategy is a key, and I'll explain in another video what master data strategy is in alignment with central finance. There is a blog as well on blogs.sap.com. And working on future consolidation requirements. Now, end state of this phase should be the robust foundation for the next. You bring your data from source to CFIN. This is with good data quality, and your processes, your people, your technology should be in place. Data strategy should be in execution phase, and you should have people and the processes and the systems to manage your AIF errors. You can have few hundreds, or you can have few thousands, or you can have few millions, depending on the volume of data and the scope of the project. But yes, you have to have the people to resolve and to manage those errors 24/7. That's transform, where you start the project, you implement central finance, and your data replication starts. Now what next? Now data replication starts. Is it central finance done? No, it is just one component where your replication starts. Next phase comes is sustain. In this phase, it's a less of execution phase, rather it's a planning phase to the next. Here, the real-time replication should be happening for source system, which is an exit from the transform phase. Resolving errors is an operational part. We will not talk about it. Strategic focus should be on working on dashboards to do root cause analysis of the major defects. Every day you are receiving thousands of errors. Is resolving the errors the end state? No. You have to focus on doing the root cause analysis. Change the processes, why those errors are coming. If you have every day out of 1,000 documents, 800 documents are because of vendor management, change the process. Identify what is the problem. That these errors are not just a burden on the organization. These should be used as a value. This should give the value in the thinking process. The future driven transformation should come out of this. Process mining is another area where you can look for. Process mining can also be used, and you'd have to determine the root cause of the errors and working on permanent. Okay. And we also have to understand that till sustain phase, the cost is very high because you have implemented central finance, you have infrastructure cost, you have people cost, you have license cost, but there is no value till date. Value is still zero. So now we start talking about the value. Next phase is the run phase. In this phase, the value delivery starts. We drop the value to the business. When the data is in central finance, it is sustainable. Now we start running the processes. We start implementing central payments, central credit management, central financial close, standard reconciliation approach, including black line or something. Connect your satellite systems. You do your payments. The bank connectivity should happen from here. Your consolidation should happen from here. You can implement group reporting so that all your data from several systems is in one system. Now you have options for intercompany eliminations, for consolidation, for assessment allocations. And of course, on top of this, you can implement SAP Cloud Analytics or any other analytics tool. I don't promote a product here, but rather, any other tool which helps you in driving your analytics. And of course, with central payments, you harmonize your bank connectivity, you reduce your infrastructure cost as well as the processing cost. And I have seen companies have saved millions by implementing central payment, because if you pay today from 20 systems in 20 different file format from 20 type of people, experience is needed. Tomorrow you just have one system. So of course, now the value delivery starts. Now you will see what you have invested a year back. Now you will get the value out of it. And with this, your most of the operations will be centralized. And they'll also, especially in shared service environment, it gives a huge value. And it is also important to consider that we need to have a lot of changes in the security roles, authorizations, because central payment is there and a lot of areas will change. So be open for change management. It is not just implementation, the huge organizational change management from people perspective as well. That's run. Now you have transactions running. Business will get the value what invested. So you have a justified answer now why we invested in finance. Now on top of that, you innovate. In this phase, the focus should be on sustainability of the centralized operations. Very important. You have to keep those operations sustained. and stabilize the processes. Of course, you change from something ECC to S4, you have to stabilize those operations so that you eliminate any redundancy or any junk from the processes. And then, of course, you have newly designed or redesigned processes, tools, and application. And now your digital journey starts. Basically, you implement robotics process automation, RPA, on top of this, machine learning, artificial intelligence, and process simplification. And of course, we should not forget continuous improvement. That is very important. Improvement is not a destination, it's a journey. You keep on improving, you keep on learning, but at the end, your employees, your customers, your partners should get the value of the digital transformation. What is digital transformation? It's not just doing work on I do 2 plus 2 4 on paper, and I do 2 plus 2 4 on calculator or a computer. It's not a digital transformation. At the end, that transformation, that technology should deliver value to the business, should deliver to the value to the customers, should deliver value to my employees, and that's a digital transformation. So in a summary, these four phases where we talk about transform, sustain, run, innovate, they are all interconnected. One ends and then only other can start. You cannot automate the processes unless your processes are stabilized. You cannot run the processes unless your replication and AIF error handling is settled. So we have to understand this. This is what the next step in any central finance project is. And this circle keeps on going and going, where you keep on continuous improvement. You bring more systems in scope, any mergers and acquisitions you add to the scope, so that you get value what you have invested till date. That's all in this video for today. Do share, like, subscribe to the channel, and I will post more central finance videos in coming period, in coming days, weeks, months. We'll keep on adding a lot of content, especially specifically focused on central finance. So don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you. Have a great day.